Turning now to your community focus, we are just over 2 hours away from President Joe Biden's solo press conference as he faces mounting calls from within his own party to drop out of the presidential race. Joining me now, Massachusetts Congressman Jake Auchincloss. Thanks so much for being here.
Hey, Kim. Good evening.
So let's start here, Congressman. You've previously said there needs to be hard conversations about the president's viability as a candidate, particularly whether he's strong enough to beat former President Donald Trump. So I'll just ask you this plainly. As we stand here today, do you think President Biden should stay in this race?
I think those hard conversations are continuing, and I'm having them with my constituents first and foremost. For the last 2 weeks since the debate, I have been continuously engaged with voters up and down the Massachusetts Fourth, from Fall River through Brookline. And what I'm hearing is that everyday Americans in the Massachusetts Fourth have deep and unaddressed doubts about President Biden's ability to defeat Donald Trump in November and to discharge the duties of his office in a second term. And you know, with respect to the president, it's not elites. I know he's saying it's elites who are ganging up on him. It isn't. It's my constituents who are everyday Americans, and he has to earn back their trust, and he has to demonstrate his strength.
So you said you're hearing from your constituents. What is it going to take to earn back their trust? What do you think he should be demonstrating to them to get them to support him again?
Well, he's concluding a successful NATO summit this week where he is really in a milieu that has been his strongest point in the last 3 years, which is restoring U.S. global leadership after the depredations of Donald Trump. We're seeing that he has rallied the West and East Asian allies to the support of Ukraine. He has put the United States in a stronger position relative to China for the first time in the 21st century. He has walked a tightrope in the Middle East. So I think continuing to demonstrate that commander-in-chief competence is critical. And also just being more transparent about his mental and physical state.
Now, you, of course, represent your constituents in Massachusetts. If they have such doubts about the president's fitness as a candidate, do you foresee yourself potentially joining the growing number of Democrats in Congress who are calling for him to drop out?
14 million Democratic primary voters went to the polls over the last year knowing the president's age and said he's our guy to beat Donald Trump. I walk humbly in the face of that revealed preference of Democratic voters, including my own voters here in the Massachusetts Fourth. So I am being methodical, and I am canvassing widely for opinion and for input on this situation. And I really want the president also to have the grace and the time, now that the NATO summit is concluded, to talk to his closest advisors, to talk to his family, and to talk about what is the strongest possible ticket to defeat Donald Trump, and also to lead this country for the rest of the 2020s. And this president has always put country first for the last 50 years of his service. His legacy right now, I think, is that he's going to be a top 10 president of all time. And I want his legacy to remain that stellar. What I don't want is for his legacy to be the man who let Donald Trump come back into the Oval Office and implement Project 2025, a dictatorship, a banana republic form.
Let's shift gears here while I have you. Your district includes many of the communities in Massachusetts on the 195 corridor. And of course, the Washington Bridge closure has been a major issue in this area. We learned just last week that there were no companies that bid on the contract to rebuild the westbound side. Are you worried about what this means for both the federal funding and the impacts on the residents here?
Yes, I'm disappointed that Governor McKee and his staff issued a request for proposal to get 0 bids in return, that they did not architect a proposal that would be executable immediately so that that bridge could be rehabilitated as soon as possible. This is affecting my constituents in southeastern Massachusetts. As you may know, Kim, southeastern Massachusetts is the one part of Massachusetts where there's a net export of people to jobs in a different state. So a lot of my constituents work or recreate in Rhode Island. I was talking to a Fall River school teacher, for example, a couple months ago, who was considering leaving her job, which she loved, because the commute had become unbearable for her from where she lived. And that story is playing out across the cities and towns that I represent. And I really encourage the governor and his staff to expeditiously issue an RFP that can be built in consultation with construction firms.
All right, Congressman Jake Auchincloss of Massachusetts, that is all the time that we have, but thanks so much for joining us here on 12 News at 4.
Have a good weekend.